Centuries have passed since the Incas walked the Peruvian Andes. Their civilization has disappeared. Time has eroded their monuments. But the mountains still echo with the sounds of ancient traditions. Far from the crowded streets of Lima, the Festival of Santiago is celebrated. Until recently, this timeless ritual enacting the harvest was confined to country villages. Throughout the world, modernization has devastated many cultures. Though this region is not immune to the pressures of change, folk art traditions still thrive. A world in miniature. These intricate scenes reflect life in the Peruvian Andes. Just as primitive cave paintings give us a glimpse into another age, so do these contemporary carvings act as living records of the mountain people who carved them. Their canvas is a simple gourd. Their brushes are nails and screwdrivers used to etch and chisel form. Charcoal is applied to define the carving. Burning stick embers are used to create color. The tradition of gourd carving in Peru can be traced back over 4,000 years. Guillermo Osores teaches his 4-year-old daughter, Edith, how to carve. What begins as child's play will develop within a few years into her own sense of style and design. These gourds were carved by children between the ages of 8 and 13. The National Museum of Peruvian Culture in Lima has an extensive collection of pre-Columbian and more recent gourds. Señorita Luisa Castañeda León is a folk art researcher who for the past 25 years has been studying the gourds.
The carvings from Cochas used to have a naive innocence which was very beautiful. But this perspective changed as the artisans began to carve just to please their clients. Originally, the carvers used the gourds in their own homes, but now they make them only to sell. Through commercialization, the primitive, innocent quality has been lost.
The fact that the gourds are made to sell raises the question, has gourd carving ceased to be a folk art? Don Jacinto Garcia has been carving gourds for 62 years.
I farm the land and tend to my animals, but whenever I can, I carve. I learned to carve from my father when I was 8 years old.
4 días hemos llegado con el bulto hasta Huancay. Bueno, ya mi papá desde antes sabía ya burilar.
I carve the way I do because this is how I was taught.
For the past century, gourds have been carved and sold. During the last 25 years, the influx of tourism has created a demand for more complex carvings. Responding to the new market, some artisans have begun to make gourds which tell a story. These carvings can record obscure rituals and reflect the changing life in Cochise. This gourd tells the story of the herbal doctor. A villager falls ill. The medicine man recommends placing a guinea pig under the sick man's stomach to transfer the illness to the animal. This folk remedy fails, so a Western doctor is called in. He diagnoses the case and cures the man. The herbal doctor is shamed and driven away. Delia Poma is a well-known carver whose work is respected by other artisans.
I have been carving for 12 years. I prefer carving scenes of the countryside, but sometimes I receive special orders for gourds showing the customs of the village. And if the client pays the price, I must carve what he wants.
Claudio Seguil is another carver in the village.
We sometimes have large orders for simply carved gourds. When this happens, the entire family works together, each phase of the work being done by a different person. When we help one another in this way, we are able to fill our orders more efficiently.
Folk arts in other cultures have disappeared as the young sought work in urban centers. The people of Cochise are subsistence farmers, yet they earn their living from gourd carving. In order to complete large quantities of gourds quickly, families work in an assembly line. One member may carve, another burn, and another chisel out a group of gourds. These gourds can be completed in a matter of hours. At the same time, market demands for the finest work has enabled a few individual carvers to develop the art. As this has happened, a sense of competition and individualism has emerged. An artisan who carves distinctively, though not in minuscule detail, is Gualberto Ponce. Originally, he carved scenes of village life, but then he began a daring experiment in his work which bewildered other carvers. Deviating from the motifs traditionally carved upon the gourds, he started etching abstract, mysterious shapes whose reality lives deep within the Andean mind.
imitar el diseño grabado en el mate. En este mate
An artist
representa,
should never only copy things
algunas
which are
figuras
visible.
quizás raras. Para
He must
muchas
always
personas
think of
son
new
figuras
things.
desconocidas. Aquí en el grabado representa
This figure represents a
un
microbe, a sickness.
cuando se anda en las noches, que no se ve tan claro.
Here is a man resting behind a hill. Meanwhile, an evil spirit, it could be the chacho or the chokai, comes to him. When these encounters happen, they produce a fear which manifests differently according to each individual. Sometimes, when looking at the clouds, one can feel these fears by seeing strange shapes and forms. These are human remains. Evil spirits can use them, can put them together and make them walk. Many people tell me about these things because they know I am interested.
Some carvers are very sensitive about these themes because they feel the devil is being represented. These villagers neither drink nor dance, yet they commonly carve events which run counter to their religious beliefs. In the festival of Avelina, drunken villagers dance in tattered rags to symbolize hardships the Indians have endured. The scissors dance was originally an Incan warrior ritual. The sun god was worshipped as battlefield triumphs were celebrated. The dance was transformed by the Spanish to incorporate the Catholic religion into Peru. The dancers reenact the life and suffering of Christ through their own suffering. The religious carvers of Cochas consider these rituals as pagan, yet they say no harm is done by depicting them in carvings. Gualberto Ponce is a devout man. His strange motifs seem to conflict with his religious convictions.
When I was a young boy, I was sick with the chacho, an evil spirit. The guinea pig was placed on my body and I was cured. After the pig was killed, an autopsy showed the claws of the chacho embedded in the pig's liver. Since the age of 14, I have lived religiously, and these sicknesses have ceased to exist for me. But it doesn't hurt anything to just carve them. More importantly, it differentiates my work from other artisans who only carve what they see. Since no one else carves like me, I have rid myself of my competition.
As the artisan's world expands, so do their commercial outlets. A few years ago, this van was the only mass transportation to and from Cochas. Now, a modern fleet of buses is on a regular schedule to the nearby market in Huancayo, a city of 300,000 inhabitants. As personal wealth increases, the social structure is affected. The family wash is done at a nearby stream, bringing neighbors and friends together. But those who can afford it have running water in their homes. All cooking in Cochas was done on earthen fireplaces using wooden branches. Today, some of the wealthier families own modern gas ranges fueled by propane. Curiously, one family with a new stove allows it to sit unused. We are keeping it for the future, they say, because gas is so expensive. An innovation in the village which makes the burning process faster and easier is the hand torch. The drawbacks are a narrow range of color and less accuracy than with the burning stick technique.
Using the burning sticks is very bad for our health. The smoke damages our eyes and also creates problems in the lungs from constantly blowing on the ember. Once in Lima, I used an electric pencil to burn gourds. The results were satisfactory, although I could not work very fast because the pencil point was small. These machines can serve us by eliminating health hazards. They are a hope for the future.
Gourd carving as a folk art is finished. Nowadays, some carvers even sign their gourds, thinking they will become famous. But the monuments in Peru and the great cathedrals in Europe were never signed. The artists remained anonymous. As to the future, I don't know. If the artisans ever get electricity and begin to burn the gourds with electric pencils, it will no longer be folk art, but will be an industry.
Although significant changes are occurring in Cochas, some processes remain the same. The practice of charcoaling gourds after etching them has basically not varied for centuries.
If we have electricity one day in Cochas, then we will be able to complete urgent orders by working at night with bright light instead of lantern light. While we are young, we must work hard and save money, because when we are older, we will not be able to carve the way we can now.
Has the folk art of gourd carving remained intact? or has it been lost through commercialization? In today's complex world, even the most remote cultures are no longer untouched. Those which can creatively adapt survive. The people of Cochas have managed to preserve their heritage and prosper. In developing their art form, they are able to work together, incorporating the new while extending ancient traditions.